And we're talking about short-term care today, something we haven't really covered much on this program, a short-term solution since about half of all insurance claims for care last less than a year. And therefore, you can save a bundle of money. Now, this should not cause individuals, Lynn, to avoid purchasing either something that would cover long-term care or a life insurance policy where you can access the death benefit or whatever.
Right.
But for individuals that are sort of stuck in the middle here from a financial perspective,
Right.
this
Some is better than none.
a really,
Yes.
really affordable option. As we just discovered, for myself, it would cost me $40 a month, less than $20 a month, that I would save just because I can get $250 a year out of them for prescription drugs. We're talking
Right.
about less than $20 a month
I know.
to have a benefit of how much? $150 a day, is that what you said?
$150 a day for a year. And there's a couple things about that plan. I mean, there's lots of great plans. There's 7, 8 other carriers out there that we can look at that are a little bit more comprehensive because this one's a home care plan. There are some that cover skilled nursing as well as home care. But this one is a limited plan, but nonetheless, it will. The underwriting is very simplified. I mean, two questions for a lot of people.
What are the two questions?
Good question.
Okay, that's what's important here. When she says limited or simplified underwriting, that's a biggie. I mean, I've got a
huge.
background in insurance, as many of you know. And that's a biggie because a lot of insurance companies do their level-headed best to either figure out how to say no to you or to put all these riders and exemptions and all that in there so that when you do get sick, that's one thing that's nice about life insurance. You're either dead or you're not dead, unless it's weekend at Bernie's. But when you're sick, a lot of these insurance companies that sold you a policy have an army of lawyers trying to figure out how not to pay a claim.
Well, and long-term care, in all fairness, is a lot different. I mean, people do not scam long-term care the way they try to with long-term disability because nobody checks into a long-term care facility just to scam an insurance company. That's just, I mean, why would you do that? So their whole approach is altogether different from say, a long-term disability carrier that's dealing with different issues. But the two questions with this carrier happen to be, are you in care today? The answer is no. You passed half the test. And do you have control over all 6 activities of daily living? Bathing, eating, dressing, toileting, transferring, continence. If the answer to that is yes, you passed the test.
That's amazing. Is there an age limit on this?
Yeah, that's another good point. 85.
85.
Yeah.
This is fantastic
You can't.
news.
A lot of people in their 80s can't get long-term care insurance at all because the carriers don't write up to that age, or their health is so bad. Like they might have arthritis, they might have had cancer, they might have. But they're in control of all 6 activities of daily living, and they're not in care today. And yet we can get this plan, we can get the other home care plan we've talked about for them. There are some cases, some of these other carriers, the health questions are 4 questions, 5 questions, a half dozen questions. I mean, it's limited underwriting, as you said. And that makes it much easier for people to qualify when they've had issues in the past where they couldn't qualify. There are some that are more lenient about weight, for example, if weight is a big issue. So
Wait a minute, that wasn't one of the 2 questions.
No, that's a different carrier we're talking about. Yeah, so I've got a half dozen
got
carriers.
some pudgy dude like me, and you say, well, you know what? We're not going to ask you the weight question.
Yeah, well, they're going to ask the weight question, but they will go standard all the way up to, large amount.
Like
of weight.
really fat.
Pretty chubby.
Do they have, like a scale from, porky to disgustingly heavy?
I don't think so. I don't think they call it that,
Okay.
Ray. But here's
Because I hear this ad on the radio all the
about.
time where the guy says, well, if you're a little bit porky, we can still insure you.
Yeah, the life insurance guy.
Yeah.
Well, but here's another thing that we haven't talked about. If you're the other half of those people that have that 1 year less claim, the half that recovers, right? And you don't need care for, say, 6 months. Some of these plans restore the benefits like you never used it.
So you bought
you can use it
$150 a day and you used it for 6 months. And then after a certain amount of time, you have still another year's worth of $150 a day in benefits.
If you recover and you don't need the plan for 6 months with this other plan, it's like you never used it. You start over again.
Okay, so a younger person buys this. Is there a COLA, cost of living, anything like that, or do you have to
You
just...
can in some states get the COLA. Yes,
So
absolutely.
why wouldn't a young
I
person
don't
do
know. Because we haven't talked about it enough. That's why, and it's our fault. So we're going to talk about this more and make sure that people know about it.
This is an amazing thing, and you only heard it right here on the Ray Lucia Show. I really have not heard anybody talking about this on any show anywhere in the country
I know,
ever.
I know.
Because it's something pretty obscure.